morning, everybody. And I'm excited to be here on the wake up call. Wow, what a day, what a night last night, what a whole period, what a year. The topic of the call this morning is the morning after. And I don't mean that kind of morning after you naughty kids. I'm talking about the morning after something that has been building up for you. Do you remember when you were a little kid and you build up to whether it was your birthday or Christmas, Santa was coming, or from whatever tradition you come from, there was some big holiday, some big day, and the anxiety and the excitement and the thrill. And then it came and it was incredible. And then the morning after came. And the toys were strewn all over. Sometimes some of them were even broken. And half of the kids out there were already saying, I'm bored, even though they had just gotten all of this incredible stuff to celebrate. I don't know if you were fortunate enough to have that happen. That was how it was in my home as a kid. And as we get into this industry, it's the event, right? We sign up for the event. Now it might be it used to be the live event. We book our plane ticket, we book our hotel, and it's going to change our lives. And they do. They truly do. Maybe it's the challenge we have coming up. You're ready and you're excited, and this is it. And I'm going to change my business. It's the end of the year. I need to close this year out strong. Maybe it's the course that you're investing in, or the coaching or the mentorship you're investing in. Any of those things, you let it build up in you. And for many people this year, the election was a big deal. And I saw people that love each other fighting over stuff. I mean, I find it fantastical, truthfully. And today's the day after. Today's the day after. And we don't know what went on. But what I do know is that the day after any of these events, the day after we make the purchase, the day after we join the course, the day after the big event that we invested our weekend into, the day after is the most important day of all. Not the day of. We all think it's the day of, and we sit around and we get all rah-rah and jump up and down. It's never the day of, or the weekend of, or the week of. It's the day after. And what do you do on that day? For so many people, it's today's my day to recoup. Today is my day to get back on track. Today is my day to rest. Today's my day. Today, in the United States, we're all just sitting on pins and needles waiting to see what's going to happen. But the God honest truth is, you still have a business, you still have a family, you still have a life, and we all need to get up today, the day after, and make the decision that we will have more control for our own lives than we give anybody or anything or any entity outside of ourselves. And that's really what happened for me in my business. I was originally an employee at the mercy of an employer, and I'm very thankful for that job. It was a great job. What's interesting is I left the job, but a couple of years later, that job was eliminated. So I would have lost my job because my control was outside of, everything was outside of my control. I would have found another job, of course. I had good skills. Then I got involved in business and in my home business, and everything I did was dependent on an entity that was telling me how to walk, how to talk, how to think. And it was good. And I learned skills, and I had some success there. Unfortunately, the founder of the company I was involved with died at 44 years old, and I watched an incredible amount of spin out, and I watched people who thought they had no control whatsoever because it was all pinned around a person or an entity. As I grew and as I met my own mentor and as I came to understand what was possible for me and my family, I started to learn more and more, because the more responsibility you're willing to take on allows more money to come to you. Let me repeat that again. The more responsibility you're willing to take on determines the amount of money that can come to you. So maybe you're new and you're just starting out and you're thinking, I need to learn to generate my own leads. Well, that would be taking on responsibility. And as you learn to control your own lead flow, your control over your own business and the amount of money that can come to you changes. Because if you're dependent on something else for your lead flow, you're kind of stuck. Maybe you're in the middle of the game. Maybe you've moved down the road and you're just learning to build your first pages, your own hub page that we have for you, where you're putting your name and your face and creating your own brand. That's awesome. You take on more responsibility. You're willing to be visible. You're willing to put your name on it. You're willing to put your face on it. And then if you get, down the road and you're willing to put your voice on it, you're willing to put your voice on it, go live, create videos, whatever venue you want to use. Now you're taking on more responsibility. And when you take on more responsibility, the amount of money that can come to you goes up. And each step you take coming down this road all starts with the morning after. And it doesn't matter whether it's the morning after the weekend when you goofed off, the morning after the year that you got sidetracked. This year sidetracked a lot of people. It doesn't matter whether it's about your business, about your diet, about your health, about your wellness, about your household. The morning after is the time when habits are created. I don't know if you guys have ever read the book, The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell, The Outliers. It's a really interesting book, and it's worth a read, because he talks about, we tend to look at some people and think they're just so good. They're just a natural. They're just so good at that. And what he does is he goes on to show you is that, yeah, maybe some people had some inclination or some talent for something. But he goes on to show you that people that truly become experts, and this is going to depress you, but I'm going to give you something exciting in a minute. So hang tight with me, because you're going to hear this and you're going to go, how could I ever do that? Hang tight. He said that in order to become an expert, he profiles the Beatles and Bill Gates and others, people that we think of as, and Bill Gates has become political in recent years, but for years we looked at him and Steve Jobs and these guys as these phenomenons. We looked at the Beatles as phenomenons. But he showed how they could have gone on to just be nobody. But their morning after habit of getting up and working and doing turn them into experts. Now, Malcolm Gladwell says it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. 10,000 hours. And it's funny because one day after I read that book, I decided to sit down and start calculating how many hours I had put in over the years. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I read that book, I don't know how many years ago, and he was right. 10,000 hours. I'm an expert copywriter. I'm an expert speaker, all these different things. And it was like, wow, he's right. I never had a background in this. I didn't know anything about sales, and I became the number one affiliate. I didn't know anything about websites or capture pages or funnels or prospecting or how to show up on social media. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know social media. First of all, social media didn't exist when I started. You really got to understand that. Social media, guys, there was no YouTube. There was no Facebook. There was no TikTok. There wasn't even blogs. Heck, there weren't even it was dial-up when I started, okay? So the idea that I've become known in this arena is just completely, ridiculous to me when I think about it. So I put in a lot of hours. And that might sound like, oh my gosh, and Brian and Jim and Norb and everybody, you put in a lot of hours. Brian said, in the pre-call today, they've been showing up every Wednesday night for 12 years, barring it falling on Christmas or something. every Wednesday night for 12 years, and that's the minimum. That's the tip of the iceberg of what they show up for and what they do. So yeah, my lead system pro is pretty good at what they do. Diane Hockman, I'm talking about myself in the third person. I'm pretty good at what I do. But here's what else Malcolm Gladwell said. And it'll make you just go, whoa, snap. It takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. Right? And you're thinking I put 10 hours into my business a week. That's that's 1,000 weeks. That's there's only 52 in a year. Oh my gosh, that's impossible. You know how many hours it takes to become functional at any skill you want? Functional. Do you know how many hours it takes to become functional? 20. In 20 hours, starting today, the morning after. And by the way, every day is the morning after. Every day is the morning after. Maybe the morning after the election. And it might have been the morning after, the day after Christmas, or it might be New Year's Day, or it might be the day after your birthday, or it might be whatever it is that you are marking, because everybody likes to make these marks like in the sand, like that's the day. That's the day. Any day can be the day. And any day can be the day after. 20 hours. 20 hours. So think about it. You do one of our challenges and then follow up and do the work. You can be completely functional very, 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 very quickly. You can be completely functional this week or over the next 2 weeks if you want to. You want to learn how to use autoresponders and learn how to build an email list. You can. I've seen it time and time again. I take people into my workshops. They start having no experience and don't even know what an autoresponder is. And by the time we're done, which is usually less than 20 hours, they are completely functional and able to write decent letters. You'd be stunned. You'd be stunned at how fast somebody can progress. You want to learn how to use our funnelizer tool? It won't even take you 20 hours. You want to learn how to use our business center and start building. And by the way, for those of you that are at the professional level of our membership, you'll know about those. If you're just starting out, don't worry. We have everything for you from brand new guy all the way up to completely professional marketer. We have all the tools you need, everything you need. So if you want to become functional in any of these, all you have to do is decide today is the day after whatever, because it's the day after Tuesday, okay? And you sit down and you go, okay, this is what I'm going to learn this week, and this is what I'm committed to this week, and I'm not going to let the week end without having learned how to do it. You want to learn how to use Canva. You want to learn how to use, any of the tools that are out there. You want to learn how to use TikTok. You want to learn to use whatever it is. I want to learn how to edit a video. I promise you can be completely functional in 20 hours. I promise you can be completely functional at rudimentary copywriting. It takes a lot more work to become a pro. I promise you can be rudimentarily functional enough that you can generate leads and actually generate some sales at Facebook Lives or anything you want. You can. You can. I've done it. I do it all the time. I have a friend. They keep going, how did you learn this? How did you learn this? I sat down and decided to learn it. There's no big secret. There's no magical pixie dust. There's no something out there. It's you deciding it's the morning after. I'm getting up today and I'm getting this. So I hope that in a day that could be a little confusing, and the podcast listeners might be listening to it at a later date, but a day that could be a little fearful or a little confusing as we see some other stuff going on around the country and in a time where it's a little scary, just go inside and understand that the control sits with you. It sits with you. And I can't think of a top marketer out there that wasn't in a time of turmoil when they got up and decided it's the day after I'm going to work. I can sit here and rattle off the story of person after person after person, whether it was debt, whether it was foreclosure, people who had nowhere to live, people who had nothing to eat, people who, in much worse condition than almost all of us. And maybe you're listening today and you're in that place. Congratulations for being here. But the story of the great marketer always rises out of turmoil. So I really want you to think, if somebody else gave you the turmoil, it's a lucky, lucky thing for you. Okay. Go out there and take the chaos and turn it into cash. Take the confusion and turn it into currency. Take what makes you fearful and turn it into your power. People will flock to you. It's the day after. What will you do? Guys, I'll meet you if you're listening live. I'll meet you over at MLSP fan page. We'll do a little discussion on this. And if there's anything I can do to help you guys, you let me know. Join me over there on the MLSP fan page. Take care. Hey, that was just doing the My Lead System Pro wake up call, and I broadcast it over here. And if you see this, give me a shout, Ethan. Hey, how you doing? So I'm going to go run, and I have to do a live over on their fan page. But it was good to be here. See you later.